Good morning, I am Sam of Stitchy Sam here on Flosstube but also on Instagram. Thank you for stopping by, particularly to if you're new, but also to those that are subscribed and are or returning to my channel. Really do appreciate it. I continue to be astounded by the response to my first 3 floss tubes. I'm sorry it's been a while, just stars haven't aligned for me in order to make this 4th floss tube for you. But I do have some good news. I was waiting for 100 subscribers, but I'm so very close to that. I am actually going to be doing a giveaway towards the end of this video. So please buckle in, get a nice drink of a beverage of your choice, and watch my whips, my haul, my happy mail, but also my plans for next, i.e. May, the rest of May. I'll go through those as well with you. I'll also be finishing my video with a few shout outs to some floss tubes that I have been watching and enjoying in the last few weeks. So moving on to my first load of whips. Now the first one, you are also going to get a sneak peek of what May update will bring. So the first one is the Great Outdoors SAL with stitching cabin, and I've gone for the nature version as opposed to the coastal version. Now if I cover up the deer, so the row with the deer on is this month, but the row with the owls, which was a super quick one to stitch up for April, were the ones with the owls. And there's a teeny tiny amount of sort of gold diamante DMC in there. All of the other threads are DMC, the called for colours, and the fabric is dyed by Crafty Ferret, sorry, and it's called Candy Mountain 18 count, and it's 2 strands of thread over 1 on the ADA. So for a reveal maze section, you can see I'm already around about the 60% mark for that row. It's just going to be a row of 6 deer, so I've got another deer to finish off at this end, and then there's bits, and these ones, the little sort of motifs within the deer, they're filled in, and there is a little bit of sparkle in there as well. And I'm particularly enjoying this dark sort of, it reminds me sort of like a festive jumper, sort of like band at the bottom. I do like that, and I do like stitching with those darker colours as well. So it's the deer are under the oak trees apparently, and I'm well over halfway on this, so really exciting. So you can just see, if I unravel it a little bit, you can see the mountains at the top and lots of trees and camping. So I'm really excited to see how this progresses into May, and also to find out what's in store for June, which isn't that far away, with today being the 10th of May. So that's that one. In terms of my whip go, the called for numbers selected Sally Squirrel, but also Mini Think Pink. So Sally Squirrel, I was meant to be doing it for 8 days, and I did complete 8 days with this one, so I have hit my target with this one. This is a very small Gecko Rouge design. It was originally done for a SAL, a stitch along, and originally painted by Anita in Verity. So if I hold it up, so this was in a kit by Gecko Rouge. So it's all their own threads, 25 count magic guide, which is heavily faded since the SAL was back in 2015. So it's a good 10 years, a decade old. Here we go. Here is Sally. I'll show you a picture of what she looked like previously, and here she is of what she looks like today. So you can see that I've stitched all of this bit here, but also I finished this along here, and actually in the fur and the sort of the white, the creamy stomach, that isn't actually that much confetti, so that is really good, and it was stitching up quickly in the 8 days. So I've made an awful lot of progress. So maybe I'll do sort of a side by side so you can see between what it was before. So this is Sally Squirrel, Gecko Rouge, and 8 days work on that in April. Oh, and apologies, 70% of the way through on that one. So towards the bottom, when I get to the oak leaves, that's going to be when there's a lot of confetti in there. So I should have shown you this to start with, but I do have a picture. I'm sorry for the crumpling, but this is what Sally is going to look like when complete. So you can see, hopefully you can see through the plastic, that these are the oak leaves at the bottom, and there are a lot of confetti in those. Having stitched the ones at the top, I know that it's quite tricky, but I'm using the method that I'm using will hopefully speed that along with the park threads. Okay, just pop them away. And I've forgotten to mention about the whip bag that I'm using, or the project bag. I know somebody mentioned that they love the way I call them whip bags, but I suppose that comes from a company called Not Another Whip Bags. That was the first time I'd come across them, so I really like that, and I just adapted that to the whip bags. So here she is upside down. This actually is a Not Another Whip bag. So I've got that really autumnal leaves. So I really thought that was perfect with the colours of Sally, as you can see. So she will come out again, hopefully twice again this year. So who knows, might get really close to a finish, either towards the end of this year or early next. So the other Whip Go project that I mentioned was Mini Think Pink. This one is by HAED. The project bag, this gorgeous butterfly one, is from Stitch Majig, which I picked up at a retreat last year. So really love that. And the design is by Fred Winkler. Pretty sure it is. Let me just check. Yeah, the artwork is by Fred Winkler or Winkler. I'm not quite sure, but this is what the beautiful fairy is going to look like. And here is what she is now. She is not quite at the 10% mark, almost there, 9.31%. And as I mentioned during my whip parade, she has got to be up there with one of my favourite whips that I'm working on. So I'm just gonna just bear with me, I'm just sorting out the fabric here. Right, okay. So if I put a picture up here about where I was last time, so you can see, and actually I'm at the top left corner actually, so I've made it all the way across, even if it's not the full block of stitches there. So here we go. So Mini Think Pink, and that's going to be the total width of her. And so I'm looking forward to going down to the next row next time, so that those park threads can really help me speed across. You'll probably notice that or you might not notice, but in the middle where is her wing, I actually ran out of a thread colour there, so I'll have to go back in and fill that out at some point. Again, she's already been pulled out once this year. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stitch on that month. I think that was for February. So hopefully I will be able to stitch on her again one more time this year and maybe catch up. I did hope to meet to 1%, and I think I just about met the 1%. So next time I'm going to really be pushing for a lot more work on that one. So yes, just put her back to bed within her gorgeous whip bag, which by the way is so sturdy. Yeah, it's like really sturdy, and you can just about see that the inside is actually embroidered. You see a little bit of it just there, maybe not, the butterfly. Now that would usually be the end of my video, but it's now cricket season, so for my son, and on one occasion when I went down to watch him, I actually got out my cross stitching, and I have my travel design, which is called the bookshelf, also by Stitching Cabin. So got it in here, really brilliant sized whip bag, enough to fit my nudge frame in, and all my threads, and a little ort jar, and of course the crucial scissors. So I've got my full kit here for just to grab and go for this one. So I didn't make an awful lot of progress. It was just the back stitching. So if I haven't already, I'd have put a picture up of where I was last time, but also you can maybe see there's some more back stitching around the books and down the side of the bookcase, because I didn't have the colour numbers for the books. Oh, excuse me. So the colour numbers of the books correspond to the different categories. So I can't remember what they're. So I've got romance, young adult, thriller and mystery, crime, non-fiction, horror and contemporary, and historical fiction. So this was from year 2023. Really hoping to finish this year. I've just got the books and the back stitch to complete on that one, and I'm going to put bookshelf up here and then 2023 down here as well. So the fabric is 18 count, and it's sort of like this grey marble fabric. I miscounted when I cut this, and it's far too big piece, but I'm fine with that. At least it's not too small. The fabric is by Megan at Coffee Club Fabrics, and so she doesn't name her fabric, so this is just what I picked up on one of her sales. And the needle minder is by Melika Designs, and it's of this beautiful elephant. Really strong needle minders. I can just see at the back that the needle is gripped right to the edge of that needle minder. It's not going anywhere. So that's that one. Pop it back in, and because that is the whole of the design, it fits nicely into the frame. I'm not concerned about any wrinkle marks on the edges, so it's not gonna cover the stitches. So that's all the stitches that I've done this month, and part of, well, all that I've done in April, but also in part of May so far. But I've also got some more stitching from my son, who was stitching this morning, and he asked me if I could share his update. Now, granted, it's not been a massive amount, but when you're just starting out stitching, Any amount is an achievement. So he's still working on his hearts. He's completed the top, which he chose to be black. Yeah, and I've just looked at that and I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks a strange shape. I think that this side is a bit too big. I'm going to have a look at the pattern and see if there's been a mistake and we need a few more stitches around here. But anyway, I think it looks beautiful anyway. There is a fifth and final heart to go on the bottom, which I've counted. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze, but it will just about fit on. And for a first go at cross stitching, I don't think that's a bad thing, to a bad achievement really. He has asked me to send you all a lovely message. He says thank you for the comments and he really appreciates them, and to keep them coming, and echoing one of his heroes on YouTube is to like and subscribe. But that's come from him. I mean, obviously I would love it if you could do that as well, but any comments you've got for him in particular, that would be fantastic. He really appreciates it and it makes his day. So I'm not quite sure that's on. I'm just going to check to see if it's got the designer on any of the charts, but I don't think it does. I just picked it up on Etsy. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't have. Just has the instructions. But it was a perfect for him, I think. And the count on that, it was a really high count or low count, depending on the way you look at it. I think it's about 6. Count 6. So that's his cross stitching. So really busy month in terms of cross stitching for April, and like I said, at the beginning of May. Really hoping to finish that part of the Great Britain Outdoors SAL within the next week or so. However, I will move on to my new start in just a moment. First, I'm just going to tell you about what WhipGo has chosen for me, and I'm going to try to work on these, maybe not the actual targets, so especially not Ladybug Glove, because I think the target is to do 5%. So it's this beautiful small whip bag, but it's perfect size for this design. This is 18 this is 18 count magic guide. So it's called Ladybug Love and it's from HAED, and it's all DMC 2/1 for crosses. So this is what I'm going to be stitching on at least for 2 or 3 days towards the end of this month. I am taking some leave from work, not this week but the week after, so I'm hoping to do a lot of stitching then. Oh, sorry, this is, oh, right, here we go. So once again, Ladybug Love. I hope before I've shown you this, I've shown you what it looked like previously, so you can see that I've filled in a bit more here, but in the main I've been working on the hair in this area. Let me just have a look. Yep, I'm working in this area here. And I just really love how her hair is stitched up. Quite for hair which has, you think it's only got 1 or 2 colours in, there is quite a lot of confetti in that hair, but it is beautiful. So that one, I'm not sure how many percent that is though, but it's I think it's 30%. I think it's like a third of the way through. That one is a fairly small design. So she deserves to have some love, more love. She will come out again one more time this year. So that's why I love Whipgay so much, is that for someone like me that really cannot make my mind up on what to stitch on, it's just really helpful to have some sort of direction. And I've set up my own sort of targets on that to choose all of my full coverage ones, to try and make some progress on them. The other Whipgay target is Beacon Ridge. Now, I think this is discontinued, but I have it printed out and what it would look like. So it's this beautiful lighthouse with some greenery right next to the coast, where you can just see this ship in the background. So that's Beacon Ridge. And the artwork is by Dennis Luton. So another one by HAED. Now this is also on 18 count full cross. And this is a long-standing whip that I've been working on. So here we go. So this is what I'm going to be working on this month, hoping to stitch at least 1% of it, which shouldn't be too much. That's quite a lot amount of stitches because it's such a huge design. But I'm hoping with the background, just blast some more purple and for just some brainless stitching, not really to have to think about it too much. So that's Beacon Ridge, and I'm looking forward to stitching that. I'll probably prioritise that over Ladybug Love because I've already had Ladybug Love out once this year, and I'm really glad with all the progress on that one. Right, and I have news. My other project that I will be working on this month, aside from the bookshelf, if I'm going out to the cricket or we go out somewhere quiet that I can stitch in the sunshine, I will also be having a new start. Now, I said at the beginning of the year that I would just have New Year, New Start, that would be it. However, my very good friend Kathy, which is known as Manx Kathy on Instagram, she doesn't have a floss tube, but she has recently taken back up cross stitching, and she has encouraged me, she enabled me to start a new design called Australia by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Now, I have already stitched 2 maps for my son of the world map, but also the version of Great Britain and Ireland map. So I've stitched both of those, and at first I was like, no, I cannot possibly have a new start. I've got my plans, that's that. But she said, oh, and we both love Neighbours, and she says, oh, this can be an homage to Neighbours, which is sadly having a pause at the end of this year again. Not necessarily cancelled, but they call it a pause. It might come back if they get funding. But anyway, I just thought, you know what, I've got family over there, I've got an actual map, and it would just be quite a nice thing to do. So I'll show you a picture. I might do a big picture of what Australia by Caterpillar Cross Stitch is going to look like. And yeah, so that sort of leads me nicely onto my haul, in that I have the remaining threads that I didn't have in my stash for Australia. So I've got these from Thread Heaven. Sorry, very completely. Sorry, not Thread Heaven. Threads for You. Right, okay. So they're not all for Australia. I think that pink is actually either Think Pink or the Ladybug Love. And basically I ordered some threads that I needed for my frogs kissing, and some other HAEDs that I needed a few threads for. But I always sort of like stock them up until I get a certain amount for an order. So I got those. I love threads for you. Really good prices in the UK for DMC and other threads. And also she started stocking fabric, and I wanted to get some. This is 16 count HAED. It's the same count as my other ones. It's very, very light blue. I've been using ice blue for the other maps, so it's going to be slightly lighter, but I'm okay with that because there's a lot of background in the map, which I've just shown you, and it's quite a lot of desert in Australia, so I don't really want it to be blue, blue, blue out there sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to starting that, and I should be starting it tomorrow. We've agreed a date of tomorrow. I'm not sure how much time I'll be able to dedicate to it, but like I said, I've got a week off coming up, so I'm hoping to do quite a bit on that, so they can show you lots of progress in next month's video. Okay, so sorry, I've just got itchy ear. Some happy mail also from Kathy is that she won a kit, and it came with linen, and she doesn't stitch on linen, so she has sent me in this rather wonderful cardboard bag which says "with love" on it. It's the tiny little piece of fabric which is here, so it's sort of like an oatmeal type colour. Just show you in front of the bag. And I think that that's going to be enough room for maybe 2 smalls to put on my little easels, which I showed you in last month's video. So that's really quite sweet of her to send me that. She said she was never going to use it, she wanted to pass it on, and she sent me this beautiful little card with a lighthouse. So I've been really proud to display that. So thank you, Kathy. I'm sure you'll be watching this. And thanks for enabling me with Australia. Okay. Now, I had a rather big splurge because I'm not going to the retreat in May, which starts next weekend. I decided, well, I spotted this on Vinted and I just couldn't say no. So hopefully it will fit into the screen okay. Right. I've been wanting one of these, but it's one of those things that you think, oh, I'll never be able to get it, never be able to afford it. But then I saw it on Vinted. It was a reasonable price. And here it is. This DMC mini chest. The best thing about it, the seller said it was brand new out of the box. And to be honest, you can sort of tell that is the case. So I'll try and show. So the top folds up like this, and as I said, the best thing is it's got 3 drawers, and each one is full of threads. So there's 120 in total, or should I say that's 119, because I've already been using some of those threads for my designs. They're currently split into different colours. So I'll lift this one out completely so you can see it better. The different shades. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort them out so they're in number order, and also then maybe put some of my existing ones. There are even some variegated ones in there, so I might find a project that maybe I can use the variegated ones to do that. So that's really exciting. In addition to my craft room, I'll try and get some better pictures on this. So yes, the only downside is it is this mahogany shade. I'm much more sort of like of a grey or white or more contemporary, but it's just so tactile. I'm touching it now, just stroking it. It's just so beautiful. And I got that for a really good price on Vinted, as I said. So you never know, you might stumble across things locally. And I'm not saying it was cheap by any means, but it was a lot less expensive than it would have been if I'd ordered it online, etc. So that was good. So let me just grab my notebook. What I want to do now is just to quickly tell you about some of the Flosstube videos that I've been looking at and I've enjoyed. Once again, I want to mention Stitching with My Littlely. Thank you so much for sharing my channel on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Did have quite a number of people come over that had commented. So thank you so much again. Absolutely loving your stitching, both of your stitching. It's if you don't know, it's a mother-daughter duet, and that they both have stitching styles, different number of cross stitches, but they're going to the retreat next weekend, so have super fun. I miss you guys, and hopefully we'll catch up with you in October. So the other ones, and I'm going to mention all of these in the text below if you want to go and check them out, I would recommend it. The next one is actually an American Flosstuber called Crafty Gaming Jamie. Basically, she has a wide spectrum of hobbies, very similar to myself, in terms of she has a mixture of stitching, other crafts, including knitting. She loves to read, as I do, but also she enjoys gaming. I don't do nearly enough gaming as what I used to do, so really thoroughly enjoy her videos because it enables me to live vicariously through her. So Crafty Gaming Jamie, go and check her out. She's interested, if you're interested in those sorts of things. She does like weekly ones but then merges them into one longer video, so it's really interesting to see how her months go by. The next one is a brand new Flosstuber, welcome, is Cross and Crafts, or Cross N Crafts, or as in Cross and Crafts. She has started her Flosstube a couple of weeks ago now, maybe 10 days ago. She has mainly full coverage designs. So if you're into full coverage, go over there, have a look, support her, and hoping that she has lots and lots of more videos because they're really interesting to me. Now the final one that I want to mention is Cross Stitch Sarah. She's also relatively, well, actually I was going to say she's a relatively new Flosstuber, but I think she's got like 30 odd videos out now. Forgive me if that's completely wrong, Sarah. She's also doing the Great Outdoors SAL. She's changed the colours slightly in the foxes, which I hadn't even thought about doing prior to seeing that, which was interesting to make them sort of like a more red colour, but there's absolutely no way I'm going to be unpicking, aka frogging, my foxes on my design. So thank you for the idea, but unfortunately no, I'm not going to do that on this occasion. Her topics that she likes to stitch are samplers, so if you enjoy samplers, check out Cross Stitch Sarah. Once again, I put all the details down below. Now I did promise you a giveaway, so it's only a small giveaway from the World of Cross Stitching magazines, which I subscribe to. It's just one of the free gifts, which I think it's cute, but I'll never ever get around to stitching it. So it's a bookmark with this beautiful puffing on. So it's got all the materials in there, all the threads, the fabric and the cardboard to make the bookmark. So if you're interested in winning this, it's open worldwide on this occasion because it's only thin, it's only little. Please, can you put in your comment anywhere, book, B-O-O-K. You must be over the age of 18 or over the age of 16 and have the consent of an adult. And yes, so to put in the word book, please do not mention the word giveaway. And all of the usual sort of Flosstube. I'm not affiliated with Facebook or YouTube or any other organisations. So yeah, if you want to win that, please let me know in a comment below with the word book. So that brings this video to conclusion. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I can see we're now up to quite a lengthy video for me in any case. So thanks for making it to the end. Really appreciate it. If you like what you've seen, please press like and subscribe. Really means the world to me and to my son. He would really like to hear your comments too. So once again, if you do want to win the puffin bookmark, please in your comment use the word book. Okay, so I'll see you at sometime at the beginning of June or the end of May. Thank you very much. Bye.